Well, hello everyone. I welcome you all at Smarty Education. Today we will have to start with elements of company law. But before starting the video, my as usual and general request to all of you is to please watch lecture till the end so you get the full conceptual clarity. And the lecture is going to be very interesting. So please stay till the end. So let's begin with the lecture. Let's assume that there were two best friend names A and B. One day A told B that, hey B, I have a business idea. Should I tell you? Then B said, okay, tell me the idea. If I'm interested in that idea to make more and more money for myself, then I will be definitely too willing to work in that idea with you. Then A said to B, I want to open a supermarket with you and expand its branches to all over the India so that we both of us can make a lot of money. Then B said, that's a great idea, yaar, and I am interested in the idea. So basically, there are two best friends here, A and B. A suggested B that we should open supermarket and expand its branches to all over the India, and our business will grow, and definitely we will make a lot of money. Okay, definitely a lot of, because every business has an objective to earn a lot of money. Then A said, okay, let's talk to Vishal who can guide us in the formation of our new company. So basically Vishal is a company secretary and both A and B are willing to form a company to expand their business in such a way that no one can even imagine and they make a lot of money, because every business has an objective of making the money, and company is a form of organization in which you can operate a business. So both of them reached at the Vishal's office and B said, hey Vishal, we want to incorporate our company. Can you guide us in that matter? Then Vishal said, have you thought of a name for the company? Because even before forming a company, you will need a name. Then B said, yes, our company name will be Supermarka. Okay, based on the business idea of supermarket by A. Then Vishal said, okay, first of all, let's register this name at the site of MCA to get the trademark. Now there are two new terms here, MCA and trademark. MCA basically here stands for Ministry of Corporate Affairs, while trademark is a unique name allotted to an organization or an individual for his own use by registering the name at the site of Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So any company which is operating in India has a unique name. For example, if there is a Tata company, and if I want to operate a business like Tata Smarty Education, I cannot, because Tata has a registered name and has a trademark for it. They can file a legal obligation. So now let's continue our story. Then both A and B left the place, and when they came back, Vishal said, okay, so MC has approved your company name and has given you the trademark of Supermarka. Okay, now these two guys, how can these two guys can form a company? Let's discuss that process of incorporation, how these two guys can form a company. Okay, in such a way we will even cover process of incorporation. The first step is an application for registration of a company shall be filed with registrar within whose jurisdiction the register office of the company is proposed to be situated. Okay, for example, if I am willing to operate my headquarter from Mumbai and my register office will be in Mumbai, so I have to go to the Mumbai's registrar of companies office. Then the next step is in form number INC 32 SPICE. Remember SPICE. It has been even as your mock test with the fee as provided under the Companies Rule 2014 and the following documents and information required to electronically attach with the application mail. So whenever you are filling application of number INC 32, you have to submit some document. Let's discuss those documents. The first document is the memorandum and articles of the company duly signed by all the subscriber to the memorandum in it. Subscriber basically means those people who will invest in your company basically. Okay, and memorandum will define powers of directors and many more things. And articles, you don't have to go into the articles deep in now, because I will explain you those things in the upcoming lectures. Just have a knowledge that the memorandum and articles of the company duly signed by all the subscriber to the memorandum are to be submitted in electronic form to the registrar. Then the next step is declaration in the prescribed form by an advocate, chartered accountant, cost accountant, or our favorite one, company secretary, who is engaged in the formation of the company, and by a person named in the articles of the director, manager, or secretary. For example, if A want to become director, he has to make declaration related to it, that all the requirements of the act and rules made under the in respect of the registration matter of the precedent or incidental there have to be compiled with the registrar of company. Then the next step is directorship in the articles that he is not convicted of any offense in connection with the promotion or formation of management of the company. For example, if A want to become the director of the company, then he should not be convicted of any offense in connection with promotion, formation or management of company that he has committed from in that particular matter. Okay. Next step is that all documents filed with registrar for registration of the company contain information that is correct and complete, means there should be a transparency and true to the best knowledge of his belief as per the registrar knowledge of related to company. Okay. The next step is address for the correspondence till register office is being established. So what do you mean by address? So basically it means that, for example, if I'm renting an apartment to operate my company, until my registered headquarters is being established, it is under the process of building. So till now I have to give a correspondence address. Then the next step is particulars of name, including surname or family name, residential address, as you are seeing on the screen, and such other particular every subscriber to the memorandum along with proof of identity is to be submitted to the registrar of the company. That is also a required document to be filled with registrar of the company. Then the next step is to form a company. Then registrar shall issue CIN number. So what do you mean by CIN number? CIN number basically refers to corporate identity number. Then next step is if any person, this is a caution and precaution basically, if any person furnishes any false or incorrect particulars of any information or surpasses any material information of which he is unaware in any of the documents filed with registrar in relation to registration of the company, he shall be liable for the action of the punishment of the act under section 447. Remember the section, very important for your MCQ. Basically, if any person files any wrong or misleading information related in the formation of company, he shall be liable under section 447. Okay. Then finally they form the company named Supermarket, and this is their first branch. So in this story we will get to know how to incorporate our company, and we have covered our first topic, my dear friends. Now you all must be thinking, why only company, sir? Why not a partnership firm? Why not a HUF was formed? Why not a sole proprietorship? Why not A basically formed himself a sole proprietor and he could open his supermarket branches to all over India? So why they did not form partnership? Why did not form HUF? Why didn't they form sole proprietorship? Let's get all the answers of your query. Okay, so there are some reasons to form a company. Let's discuss them one by one. So following are the reasons to form a company. First one is corporate personality, second one is limited liability, third one is perpetual succession, fourth one is separate property, fifth one is transferability of shares, sixth one is capacity to be sued and to sue and be sued, seventh one is contractual rights, eighth one is limitation of action, ninth one is separate management, and 10th one is association for profit, 11th one is termination of existence. Don't worry, we will discuss each and every reason in a very detailed manner. Reasons can also be turned as advantages to form a company. Okay, so let's start with the corporate personality. So first of all, let's understand it. By incorporating under the act, the company becomes a corporate personality. So whenever you register your company under the Act of Companies Act 2013, then your company will be known as corporate personality. Okay, that's what happened in A and B. As soon as they registered their supermarket company, their company become a corporate personality. Next is distinct from its individual members. So first of all, what do you mean by members? Members basically refers to shareholders of the company who will invest in the company and will get the money from the profit of the company at the last. Okay. Then the next point is it has a seal of its own and assets are separate and distinct from those of its members. So basically whenever someone forms a company, assets will be different from the members, and member cannot claim the assets of the company. Its members are its owner. The important point to be noted here is that members are owners of the company. It can even be asked in your exam. But members cannot claim properties of the company. Okay, but they can be creditors simultaneously. Also, they can be creditors of the company as company as a separate legal entity. I will even tell you the concept of separate legal entity in the upcoming minutes, so don't worry about that. Okay. So now let's talk about our next points. Thus, incorporation is the act of forming a legal corporation as a juristic person. Juristic person basically refers to an artificial person which also has rights and many more just like a natural person. Okay. Next point is a juristic person is law is also conferred with rights and obligation under the country law. Okay. The entity acts like a natural person but only through a designated person whose acts are processed within the ambit of law. For example, there is a company named Google. Sundar Pichai is the CEO of the Google, and through a natural person, Google is acting. Okay, through a natural person means Sundar Pichai will take all the major decisions related to Google. Okay. All of you must be thinking, why company is juristic person? Why it is conferred with rights and obligations? So let's understand this with a very famous case study. Now let's discuss Sri Moni Gurudwara Prabandhak Committee versus Sri Samnath Das to get the answer why company is a juristic person. Okay, ruler of the East while princely state of Patiala had issued Farman-e-Shahi royal order. So what did the royal order said? Okay, according to it, that properties attached to the religious institution, those standing in the names of their manager, was to be metered and entered in the name of Adi Guru Granth Sahib of the institution. Don't get confused from this statement. So basically, in the ancient time, all the religious institutions property were held by some individual people named as managers. Now, according to this Farman-e-Shahi order, royal order, okay, royal order, from this order, all the properties were to be transferred in the name of Adi Guru Granth Sahib of those institutions. So what do we learn from this case study? Okay, so basically, thus it is abundant clear that by the order of the ruler of the Patiala state, the Adi Guru Sahib was recognized as capable of holding the property through a designated natural person. Thus the Adi Guru Sahib was recognized as jurisdiction. Same concept applies in the case of the company by this royal order in the state of Patiala. So from this case study, thus company can also be a juristic person who is conferred with rights and obligation but acts through a natural and designated person. That was happened in case study, our previous case study that we discussed. Now let's understand Salman versus Salman and Co Limited. This is a very interesting case study that you will like. Okay, so Salman was a leather merchant and a boot manufacturer. So what is a boot manufacturer? A shoe manufacturer basically that you are seeing as a shoe shop. Okay, Salman sir was interested to join his company because a son will also like to join his father's business if his father's business is quite good, and at that time Salman's business was quite solvent. Solvent basically means in a position to pay debts. Okay, so what did he do? So he formed a company giving shares to his sons, wife and daughter, giving 4 sons 1 share, 1 each, and daughter 1 and wife 1 share, okay, of the company, and all the remaining shares were held by him. So Salman basically sold his business to the company created by him for 38,782 pounds. Okay, in which in part of payment from the company created by him, he got 10,000 debentures secured on assets of the company, 20,000 shares of company, and 8,782 pounds in cash. Sorry, basically that was 10,000 pounds. Okay, so these were the things that were got by Salman. What did the thing next happen? And his 2 sons become directors of the company. Soon company, so in this case, soon company became insolvent, means not capable of paying the debts of the creditors, and assets were worth of 6,050 pounds and liabilities were of 18,000. So assets were basically 6,050 pounds and liabilities were worth of 18,000 pounds. So these are the creditors and this is Salman. Who will get the, because Salman also hold debentures. So let's see what happened. Out of the 18,000 secured debentures were worth of 10,000 held by Salman. That's what I told you in the previous slide. Okay, and 8,000 were held by unsecured creditors on the company. Okay, so basically in those 6,050, 18,000 liability, 8,000 were to be paid to the unsecured creditors, and 10,000 were to be held by secured debenture in the hands of Salman. So who will get the money from the liquidation stage of company? All the unsecured creditors said Salman is the principal, so we should get all the assets, but Salman had secured debenture, therefore he will get all the assets. Since company is a separate legal entity and Salman was a secured debenture holder, so first of all he has a right to get all the assets. So basically Salman got all the assets and they didn't get any kind of assets. Okay, I hope you got the point. This is a very clear cut example. If you didn't get, please write down comments, or please write down a comment in which point you are not getting. I will definitely reply that. Okay, from this case study we understand that company founder and company is different because company is a separate legal entity in both jurisdiction and separate legal entity manner. Okay, now let's understand Lee versus Lee Air Farming Limited case study, in which company is a separate legal entity, again proved in this case study. Okay, so Lee was a certified and well qualified pilot. He formed a company and elected himself as a sole director because basically he was a qualified fellow. He thought that I should form a company, yaar. Okay. One day when he was working for the company, he died and his widow claimed for the company compensation from the company. Basically, one day when he was working for the company, he died, and as you are seeing in the clearly picture, his plane got damaged and he died. His widow, means his wife, claimed for the compensation from the company. Basically, he was working from the company. So what did happen in the court? The company opposed the claim by saying that one person cannot be an employer and employee at the same time. And company spokesperson also said he was the company. So what did the judges said? The House of the Lords said, first of all, company is a separate legal entity that we saw in the Salmon versus Salmon Co Limited case study. Okay. Next of all is Lee and that company had a relationship as of a master and servant, because basically company was a master and Lee was a servant in that role. Okay. So you have to pay the compensation to his widow. Basically company is a separate legal entity, and Lee's company was saying that Lee was an employer and employee and he was also a company, but company is separate legal entity. Isko kaun samjha bhaiya? Okay, who will make him understand? So basically the company had to pay the compensation to his widow. Okay, now let's understand limited liability concept. Second advantage of a company. Till now we were only discussing corporate personality. In a company, a shareholder liability is limited up to the nominal value of shares. How? Let's understand this. Okay. Let's assume that there is a company named ABC Limited, as you are clearly able to see in the picture. Paji decided to invest in company shares worth of rupees 3,000, but due to lack of money, he only invested rupees 2,500, and company basically agreed that Paji, you can invest 500 later, but for now you can invest 2,500 in this case. Okay. Soon company went bankrupt. As a shareholder, as the owner, how will Paji be liable to debt, yaar? Because limited liability is an advantage of a company. Now Paji will only pay 500 up to the shareholding of the company as a due amount. Okay, as a due amount. So basically in a company, a shareholder limit is liability up to the shareholding held by share. In this case, Paji held 3,000 worth share and he had paid 2,500. So how much will he pay? He will only pay 500 to clear his liability. Okay. Dear friends, now let's move on to the next point. So we get to understand that members of a company will not be liable to pay its debts. Now let's study perpetual succession of a company. Okay, all of you must have heard these company names: Tata, Reliance Entertainment and MasterCard. So basically, do you know Tata was established in 1868, Reliance was established in 2005, MasterCard was established in 1966. But you all must be wondering, their founder must have died. Tata's founder has been died, Reliance Dhirubhai Ambani has died, MasterCard founder even has died. So basically, how are they operating without their owner? As a company never dies and its life is determined by a MOA, Memorandum of Association. So basically, a company never dies. You must understand that according to perpetual succession, a company never dies and its lifetime is determined Memorandum of Association. Okay, so I hope you got the point. Now let's study separate property. All of you must have heard Reliance Industry Limited. So basically, do you know Reliance has petroleum business, Reliance has telecommunication business in the name of Jio, Reliance owns Reliance Entertainment, Reliance even does operation in finance sector. Okay. So in the property of petroleum of the factory, can Mukesh Ambani owns all the property? No, as a shareholder he cannot own every property. Dear friends, try to understand. So in this case, what I am trying to tell you is that company is a separate legal entity. So all the property will be under the name of Reliance Industry. So Mukesh Ambani cannot claim the property because the company's property will be company's property. Okay. I hope you got the point. If you didn't, please comment down below. I will reply. And don't forget to write presents are in the comment section, so I will get the motivation to upload more and more videos. Now let's study transferability of shares. Basically, transferability of ownership. Under this, members are free to transfer ownership with certain restrictions. Means whoever are the shareholders, they are free to transfer their ownership. If basically it is not absolute. With some kind of restriction, you have to transfer the shares in a private company, because there are three types of company: private, public, and one person company. We will even discuss in the upcoming lecture, so don't worry about that. Okay. Now let's study capacity to sue and be sued. Basically, it means that it can proceed against a person legally, or any person can take action against a company legally. So what do you mean by this statement? This statement basically says that a company is a legal person. For example, if employee of the company does some wrong act, so company can proceed against that employee. And if something wrong against that employee, then the company will have to pay the damages to that employee that he has suffered from that act of the company. So this is the basically capacity to sue and be sued. Let's study contractual rights. So as I have already taught you the contract rights, so I hope you know what is contractual rights. As a separate legal entity, company can enter into contracts basically with another company or any person into its own names. Okay, basically it will bear all the responsibility in the contract. Now let's study limitation of action. So what do you mean by limitation of action? Limit means you cannot go beyond this border. Action means basically to do something. Okay, according to it, a company cannot go beyond the limit that is mentioned in memorandum of association. If it wants, it has to change MOA. So basically company's action will be determined in MOA. For example, if a company wants to do the business of selling fruits, then according to, if it want to expand to vegetables, then it has to change MOA to enter into vegetable business. Okay, now let's study separate management. So till now we have studied a lot of things. Now let's study separate management. So what do you mean by this? According to its members may derive profit without participation in the formation of company. Members mean shareholders. Shareholder will get profit, but they cannot enter into the company's day-to-day profit. Okay, now let's study voluntary association of profit. So what do you mean by this statement? Association means group of persons. According to it, a company is an association for profit, means whatever whoever will invest in the company basically for the profit. And only section 8 registered company can become not for profit organization. Remember, section 8 is a very important. Okay, now let's study termination of existence. Termination of existence means how will company die? According to it, a company doesn't die as a natural person, but this is decided by the procedure of law, and it's a very lengthy process. It can also be termed as limitation. Okay, now all of you must be asking, sir, now tell us what is a company. A and B formed a company. We discussed why to form a company, and now you all must be asking, sir, what is company? Please tell us. So let's get to know what is a company. So basically company derived from a Latin word, means a company incorporate under this act or any other previous law. For example, Companies Act 2030 and previous law was Companies Act 1956. In other words, a company is a legal entity which is formed by different individuals to generate profits through their commercial activities. Whatever will be done for profit. Okay, profit munna. Okay, now let's discuss nationality and residency of company. Will a company have nationality and residency? Let's discuss. A company has a nationality and domicile, but it cannot become a citizenship as per Citizenship Act 1950. Nationality means relation to a nation. Domicile means residency, means for example a company established in India, so its residency will be India. Now, it is to be noted that the company only carries right to equality right as a fundamental right under Article 14. Article 14. Okay, it can even be asked in your NCT. Which right is enjoyed by company? Right to equality. Okay. Okay, so now let's move on. Till now we only discussed advantages related to company, why company is important. Now let's discuss some of the major disadvantages. Formalities and expenses. Formation of a company is a very difficult, as we saw in A and B process. They followed a lengthy process and incurred a lot of expenses. The next disadvantage is corporate disclosure. According to a company has to disclose all the information, and members are restricted to participate in internal management. That's what we even studied in the advantage of the company. The third disadvantage is separation from the ownership. As already said, ownership means members cannot participate with reference to management of the company. They can only derive the profit but cannot participate in the management of the company. Next disadvantage is greater social responsibility. Since company is a great organization and a big organization which will eventually expected to perform much more in terms of society, and there is a greater control on company from the external influences. For example, Indian government can impose greater taxes and many more things. Greater tax burden. And seventh disadvantage, detailed winding up procedure. So what do I mean by greater tax burden? A company has to pay much more tax than any kind of other organization, like in partnership and Hindu undivided family. Detailed winding up procedure. If you have to close down a company, there is a detailed winding up procedure. You have to follow very much stage. You have to go to NCLT, file bankruptcy, and many more such things. Okay. That's it for today's, guys. I hope you liked the video. I have worked very hard on this video. I have been working on this video since 7 days. I hope you will like the video. If yes, please give it a big thumbs up and please subscribe to the channel. Till then.